guys, welcome back. I am so excited because I got this burst of energy that I'm actually pretty excited to spend this Friday with Rebekka Reynolds, but we're not here just to give you an energy boost. Rebekka is in a mastermind that I'm a part of, and I got the pleasure of spending time with her in a hotel room. Guys, get your head out of the gutter. But this girl really caught my attention immediately because we were just talking about TikTok, and then she's just, casually drops into a conversation that she, this year, in the last 6 months, has taken her TikTok account from 200 followers to over 160,000. And after going through, how she did that and stuff like that, it's been amazing to see the work that she's now been able to do with some e-commerce brands, personalities, etc. like that on TikTok and just in the video marketing space. So today is not a conversation about hotel rooms. Today is a conversation about how brands, specifically you, can incorporate video marketing into your ecosystem, because the reality is, come 2023, if you are not using video in your advertising through influencers, through UGC content, through TikTok, Instagram, etc., you are going to be left behind. So Rebekka and I today are going to be talking about how to actually transition into turning your brand into a video content machine. So if you are an existing 7-8 figure brand that feels a little behind or out of your element in how to actually build a content team in-house or how to best create a face of your brand, we're talking about all that today. Rebekka, I am really, really excited to have a recorded conversation with you on this topic, because I know you are an absolute master at getting brands results and really educating them on what really goes into video marketing. So, welcome.
I am so freaking pumped to be here. When you told me that you were like, hey, I want to do a collab with you. I really want to do like a podcast interview. I was like, no freaking way. That sounds awesome.
Yes. So I would love to, so I've given a little bit of context for what you do, but I would love it if we could, before we get into the brass tacks, if you can just take us back into why you even started pursuing TikTok, where your experience started, I guess, getting online in the first place.
Yeah, so I have experience. So I have about 7 years of experience working in e-commerce and marketing, and I started. It's fantastic because it's given me the best background for doing what I'm doing now, because I understand marketing from the small business standpoint. I understand marketing from the growth and the, we talked about it this last week at the mastermind, that pit of despair, the big scary stuff that happens when you're running like a small business, but small businesses can be up to $15 million a year in sales. And like all those jumps that come when you hit like 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, and trying to build your audience and your services off of what worked for a small business as you grow into a larger brand is really freaking hard. And because I started in it with a small amount. So when I started at the company I was at, I started in shipping. Mm-hmm. It was, at the time, it wasn't my family's business. Now I'm married into that family. I actually married into the business and the family. Yeah. And when we started there were 8 employees, including myself. Yeah. When I left there this year, there were 60 employees. Mm-hmm. And I just got to watch them go from really small to really big. And 99% of those sales came from social media. Like it was a Facebook like takeover. They knew how to use social, and they used video early. Like they jumped on the video train. As soon as you could start doing Facebook Lives, they were cranking them out like crazy. Yeah. And they really leaned into like the brand personalities, and they just did a fantastic job of that. And when I decided to step down, I was the acting marketing director of that company. When I stepped down, I stepped down because I wanted to move more into, like I had moved into a lot of admin. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to focus and hone my skills in strategy, content strategy, video creation strategy. Yeah. And that was when I started working on TikTok. I started posting on TikTok. I had that account since 2020. Yeah. And I, posted a couple goofy videos on there. And end of last year, I was like, you know what? I'll just start posting on here. And it was fun. I was like, man, like I can like create all these funny videos, and I can make fun of stuff. And I just like really enjoyed the creative aspect of it. Well, I started seeing, about February of this year was when I quit at my full-time job. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to double down on TikTok. It's a new social media platform. I know video content creation. I'm going to see what I can do here. And I started cranking out content, like 10 videos a day for a full month straight. In that month, one video took off and then another video took off, and they weren't new one. Like one new one started a domino effect for the rest of them.
Right.
But people think that like, oh, I'll post a video and go viral, and then like nothing. And then they get discouraged and they stop. But I don't think people realize if you start posting and you keep posting, you then have a huge content library for people to view when something does take off. Which is significantly more important than going viral on your first video.
Because then there's no way to really ride that wave, so to speak. You go viral in your first video, and then what if you don't have your e-commerce store set up at that point? What if you don't have your profile optimized? What if that was just a fluke and you don't have even data to figure out what isn't working versus what is working?
Exactly. Well, and then if you're a creator account, which a lot of brands that I work with chose to be creator accounts, you don't even have enough followers to have a link in your bio. So they come to your page, you have no way to collect any information. So the worst thing that could happen is your first video goes out and goes viral. Like, cause it's like, oh, we lost all that momentum. That was super cool. But so I started really dumping content onto TikTok. And in doing so, I tell people all the time, your brand can either suck fast at content creation, or it can suck slow at content creation. Better to suck fast and learn fast, and in a month, like, have cranked out all this content, and now you know what works, what doesn't work, what your brand voice is. Like, it's practice. But I started posting. One video took off. I started getting the slew of people, and that one video took me from 200 followers to 50,000 followers. And then other videos took off. Those got me to 75,000 followers, to 100,000 followers, to 118,000 followers. And then I was stuck at 118 for another 2 months. And so I did the same thing. I was like, you know what? We're going to sprint. I started cranking out content again. And then I had 2 or 3 videos take off. And so all it takes is one good video. But it has to be backed by a plethora of content that is your brand and your voice behind it.
And people underestimate the amount of time and effort it takes. And I can even feel it because ever since you walked me through what you did, you're like, there's no secret formula. Yes, it's about the hooks, but and you were telling me you literally did like 10 videos for a month straight. That is 300 videos in a month for one to take off the first time. And you're doing that when you have like 200, 300 followers. And I can already feel it because I'm in the middle of my version of that, where I posted like 9 yesterday and I'm on day 10 of the sprint. And it's like when you've only gained 20 followers and you've posted 45 videos in a week, you're like, man, this is not working. But
you're like, this sucks.
You have to trust the process. So I'm curious, and I cannot wait for my thing to go viral. But you know, the very first video of yours that went viral, tell me about that. Like, were you surprised it was that video? Or were you like, did you have a feeling about that video? Like,
no, matter of fact, I almost deleted it. I almost didn't post that video. So if you look at my content, like, it is funny content, but it's funny because you look at my page and I know who my audience is, but I use it as a huge net to gain clients. So it's kind of a two-way street because it's not my brand is my business. It's I am my brand. I also own a business, and I use that to like feed people in there. And we have several accounts we started working with. I started talking to you. Like what I did for myself is working for them. Like, it's so exciting to see that within 3 months. But the video I posted that took off and like changed everything for that page I thought it was stupid, and it is stupid, but it was funny stupid. And I almost deleted it. I recorded it. I did all the editing, and I was like, this is so dumb. Like, nobody's going to think this is funny. No one's going to like this. And I was like, you know what? Like, you said you were going to get out videos, post it. And
what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. So literally, like, it took off about 24 hours. It took about 24 hours for me to see it.
Yeah.
And then I start getting inundated with comments, with follows. Like I'll have to send you the screenshots. Like literally I grew like 7,000 followers in the course of like 45 minutes. Like it was insane. And they had all these other videos to go watch. So they went to my page, followed me, and then they started watching all my other stuff, which sent those videos through.
Just this cascade effect, right?
Yes. And so for about a month, I got to ride the wave of that one video, pushing everyone towards my other stuff. But yeah, it was amazing because it was literally a video I was going to delete. I was like, this is dumb. This is stupid. No one cares about this. And actually everybody did.
There have been at least 7 times where the video, like when I'm posting a segment of videos, and it's always the one that I think is the worst of the day that just gonna tank, and it like ends up beating all the others.
Yep.
So you know what I've learned about that? I've learned that we are generally wrong with what we think is going to work, and we just have to test and let the world tell us. Of course, you need to follow a framework. You can't just post random content. There has to be a very specific script and intention behind the content you're putting out there. But if you follow the framework, you just have to, carpet bomb and see what happens.
Right. Well, and so here's the deal. Here's where I feel like a lot of brands get it wrong. They focus so much on fitting the box and following the rules and creating beautiful, perfect content that it is sterile. Like
there's no personality.
Exactly. One of my most recent clients, they started pumping out content, and I mean, I had pretty hefty goals for them, and they push it out, and I'm like, dude, like I can't tell. There's no personality here. You look like a robot talking to me. And he was like, well, I edited it like 3 or 4 times and I re-recorded it. I was like, I bet your first take was the best take. Because now it sounds scripted. And so a lot of brands, what they do is they focus so much on, and I saw this at the e-commerce brand I was at. We were so focused on being perfect. The videos that usually took off were the ones that were accidental. Like I remember posting one video for this brand. Yeah. And it was one we had re-edited. We had reshot it because there was wind in the background. It was distracting. Yeah. And accidentally that video got posted. That video got triple the engagement of everything else on that page that day. Yeah. People were like, oh, I love that piece. I love that piece. Where do I shop that? Where do I buy that? And it's because social media is social. It is dependent on being authentic and real. And I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind because people are like, oh, that's like halfway done, or it's done. Like they think it's poorly done. And really it's like, no, it's like raw and real and authentic, and people like that.
Yeah. There's one TikTok. I don't know if I posted it, but it was, the audio was, I was on Facebook, and like you have friends, but they're all fake. And then there's Instagram where everyone's picture perfect. And then I found TikTok. And everyone is a train wreck. I've found my people. Yes. And so being overproduced generally means sterile, no personality. So I think this is a really good way to transition into kind of best practices for brands and what are some mistakes that they're making. So brand personality, in summary, why is it like the most important thing to start with on video?
I think it's because people are really sick and tired of just being sold to all the time. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things you see against Instagram right now is the things on there that used to work. It had to be picture perfect. It had to be like people be editing their bodies and making it models. And like, if that's your brand, if your brand is kind of that picturesque, like beautiful model, you need to insert personality so that she doesn't seem unachievable. Like she needs to be relatable. She needs to be, and I used to hear this all the time, with brands I've worked with before of like, they need to be perfect. They need to be the person people want to be. And that's true, but it can't just be on the outside. Like they need to have a personality. And so I think one of the biggest mistakes brands make is they spend, tons and tons of time and energy and money in creating content that they think is pretty. Yeah. but carries no weight to it.
So how about this? There's a brand that we were just working behind the scenes with where it's a beautiful, sophisticated clothing brand. And the first take when looking at their page was it's overproduced. It looks beautiful, but there's no personality to it. So how would let's use kind of them as an example. Like how would that brand, that their whole thing is high end, Fifth Avenue sophisticated, how would they give a personality to their brand in the content?
Right. So literally, I know what brand you're talking about. So like I would give, one, we want to find people who can speak well on camera. And when I see that brand, it is beautiful. It looks like something out of a Vogue magazine. It really does. They did a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah.
But we want to create someone that people can relate to. So the person I see and envision for being that brand's like spokesperson is this very much like Hampton style, sophisticated like person. So she is used to the finer things in life. She enjoys simple luxuries, but she's not stuck up. She is humble but sophisticated. She's classy. Like, you know, those old time like 50s and 60s movies, like the glamour stars where they were just, you know, they embodied sophistication.
Sipping their Perrier water on the beach or on the yacht and whatever.
Yes. Yeah. And there's two ways we could go with it, and it would just depend on what the brand decides. So we can go with classy, sophisticated with these like silly undertones where maybe she makes fun of some of the things that are like the high end class A, you know, kind of break down some of those social barriers.
Yep.
Another way we could go about it is she is sophisticated, and her goal is that sophistication and beauty are an inward decision. Yeah. So like we could have her address things like if people don't understand you and they don't get it, then they don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, and almost attitude. She encourages women to take the high road. She encourages women to enjoy the things they want to enjoy and take life by the horns. And so there's a couple, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, we're building this personality.
Gotcha.
And she is the voice for this brand.
So instead of a video shoot at the beach where models are just in bikinis with hats and whatever, not talking, we script a few videos around the punchy lifestyle, rebel, sophistication, whatever that looks like, and actually put words behind that.
Yes, and it could almost be, like I said, there's a lot of ways you could do it, but we could make her sassy. And so it could be a video of her on the beach. Yeah. And it could say, you know, people say, I just married a rich man to get here. And there's a couple tongue-in-cheek things you could do. So you could say, people say I married a rich man to get here. And you could have her turn around and say, and they're absolutely right. Like, and it just creates this like, so that would be kind of like the cheeky, like, come at me personality. You could have another person who said, people say I married a rich man to get here. Yeah. And you could have her turn around and be like, but people don't understand he married me for my money. Like, and so you're creating these scenarios that people are like, oh, boom, mic drop.
I get it. Because also it's personality, but you're tapping into hot buttons of like stereotypes, hot buttons, things that people will have polarizing opinions on to help fuel comments too.
Right. Without associating her with either one. Yeah. Like, it's meant to be satirical, 100%. Controversial content is one of the best ways. If you can find something that people disagree on. We did a video not long ago talking about Girl Scout cookies. You'd be amazed how many people have strong opinions about Girl Scout cookies.
I know. Something so basic, but gotta support the Girl Scouts.
That's right. I told people, I was like, unpopular opinion, but I don't think they're that good. And I had all these comments of like 100% agree, like it's free child labor. And then I had all these other comments that were like, it's the best cookie I've ever had. How could you ever say that? Like, Thin Mints for the win. And it was hilarious. It was awesome.
Okay. You know what's one of the first things you said to me is you're like, you know what's fascinating? Brands and business owners that don't want to go on video don't realize that they can hire someone to be the face of their brand. And you 100%. Touched on that earlier in this, but I would love to lean into that because that eliminates the pressure for founders to go on camera. Because like I get that a lot with our coaching students where I'm like, guys, you need to get on video. And they're like, well, Khierstyn, it's easy for you because you sell information. We sell a physical product. I'm like, it is pretty much the same, give or take 10%, but and who the subject is in the front of the camera. So I would love 100%. To talk a little bit about different ways to still capture video, but not being the face of it yourself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we've got a couple options there. Yeah, I totally agree. People think the brand that I worked with previously, the owners were not in any of the video content. They had no interest in being in anything. Yeah. So there's a couple options there. So you can choose to do faceless videos for your brand where you're showcasing product, you're doing voiceovers. You can have someone internally do the voiceovers and the video content creation, or you can outsource it. Yeah. That is one way. That will work. It is the least effective, in my opinion, because people love faces. They love having somebody that they can relate to. So a couple options are, if you're just getting started, start at least with somebody in your company that has a personality. Yeah. Don't take the snooze fest, and unless that, I mean, there's even angles you could pull from that. Totally. There are some pretty boring monotone creators that I follow, but the stories they tell are very good. And so I go watch them. But find someone who has personality. Find someone who really represents or can create a character that represents your brand. You could literally go to your shipping department and see if there's someone there who fits the bill. You could literally go to your either social media or your see if there's someone in your company that you could promote to moving into this content. That is one of the most cost-effective ways to move into it. And then hire somebody for the strategy. Hire somebody in to tell you where to go with that. So that's going to be most cost effective. Yeah. If you really want to lean into it, you really want to make this a critical part of your business and how you generate revenue, invest in either hiring having a team of internal talent. We called it creating our own influencers. Yeah. We hired a team of faces to represent our brand. And I'm going to tell you, it takes a lot of time and energy and work, and you're going to go through people who work and you're going to go through people who don't. Because you need people who can relate to your audience, either different aspects of it. So you can have multiple faces for your brand and they each relate to a different demographic, or you can have one or two and you just build your audience based on them. Okay. So that's an option. You can also hire out an agency. So there's all these local talent agencies or agencies like Khierstyn's. Khierstyn does a phenomenal job of huge overall strategy, and she partners with the most established and just cutting edge marketing people in her field. So she hires people. So she'll hire people for TikTok. She'll hire people for Instagram. She'll hire people for models and videography and whatever. Yeah. But you can hire somebody to come in and make those decisions for you. And they're like, I know we need these couple people to represent our brand face. And then we need people who are pushing out the content on multiple platforms. Yeah. So you can literally hire out all of it for a done for you agency, or you can start small internally and literally go find someone who has a good personality and start putting them on your videos. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's really fascinating because I've had dozens of conversations with founders in the last month where they're not so stressed about ads, they're not so stressed about website conversion rate, but where the pain comes from is when I'm like, well, how is your video strategy? And they're like, they know how far behind they are and they are like up the creek without a paddle. They have no idea how to shift their brand focus to incorporate video marketing because they're just... Everything that worked online before was images, right? And then you can have UGC influencers, influencer type content that goes out, but influencer marketing can be super expensive and very hit or miss. So to go and start creating your own content engine, whether that is through an agency or internally, it's like, here we have inventors who came up with a really good idea for a product or sourced great products and had a really good operations background, but they're not marketers. And so they finally figured out how to hire marketing talent or to learn marketing. And now you're asking them to create a video production house. They're like, I have no idea. No idea.
Right.
So I would love to, you know, we've talked about the first part, which is, all right, you can hire someone. You can go to local universities and do a casting call to find your brand people. We had a brand we worked with actually do like looking for male models on Craigslist. It's a little sketchy, but he ended up getting great looking models to help come and rep his brand for photo shoots. There might be someone in-house. So like the first step is like, all right, you got to find your person that is going to represent your brand. The next step is actually getting that content produced and knowing what is going to work. So with the e-commerce brand that you started with from really the ground up, did you do all of the content in-house?
Yep.
Awesome.
Every single bit of it. They did a phenomenal job investing heavily internally in content creation. So here's what I like about that. And then hiring an agency. Here's the two perks. Okay. Obviously you're going to have the most control internally. Like if they're your employees, you are going to have the most control internally. You are going to have the most say. Okay. Here's the drawback of that. You have the most control, which means if you are capping what your company can do, you're the top, like law of the lid. If your marketing strategy is capped out and you're the one designating, again, that's why even if you have an internal team, I think it's super important to hire in a strategist. And let the strategist do their thing. If you're not ready to let go of control, obviously there's things like if it's going to affect your brand and how you represent it, 100%, like say your piece. But if you're going to hold control and not let something run, social media and video marketing is the long game. If you're looking for a 2-3 month turnaround of I put X in, I get double back, you're not going to find that in video content strategy. Your video content strategy is meant to set you apart 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years from now. You have hundreds of video pieces on the internet selling your brand, selling your products, positioning you as the leading product producer of X in this industry. And so a lot of times the issue I see running into it with internal teams is they don't think the long game. They think X in, Y out, and that comes from Facebook ads. Like, Facebook ads spoiled us for a long time. And
they did. But now brands are like, I spoke to a founder last night and she's like, ads used to work for us. Now they're not. They're too expensive. I can't scale my company and we're trying all these other things, but they're not working. And so this founder is someone who is literally trying something for a week, it not getting effort, when not getting the results, and then moving on to the next thing, which means you're not actually ever going to figure out what will work for you because you have to double down. Exactly like you said with TikTok. TikTok is not just TikTok. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't want to be on TikTok, that's fine. But with Instagram moving toward more of a reels forward thing moving forward, with video content becoming your best way to decrease your ad costs, with YouTube Shorts becoming more prominent as a search engine for helping people find your content, and with Pinterest idea pins, another way for your thing to get discovered. So this is not a conversation about is TikTok right for you? It's about getting on board with video content to be able to outperform 6 months from now. But it's something that you've got to start now because it's going to take you likely 6 months to start to figure out what will begin to work.
100%. When we started working in Facebook Lives, so with this one brand, when we started working in Facebook Lives, the goal was obviously sales. Like we wanted to go live, pitch a product, sell the product. Yes. The whole goal of business, make money. And so we started doing those videos and they didn't really do anything. Like one of the first lives we did $50 and we like made fun of people like, like, oh, we did $50. Okay. Later down the road, 1 year later, 2 years later, a live could produce $5,000. It could produce $8,000. It could produce $12,000. It could, whatever it wound up being. And if we had quit in the beginning, we would have only ever seen $50, $12. $120. Like, you had to build the brand and video, like, because it was video.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the first big pushes into video content creation was lives. They were pushed everywhere.
Yeah.
And it helps you like build those personal relationships with customers. But I will say this just because you touched on it earlier, like people are like, I don't know if I want to be on TikTok. If you are not on TikTok and you believe that it is a silly dance app, that is not what TikTok is. Like, you really need to do some research. TikTok is going for YouTube is what TikTok is doing. They have 1 minute videos or 15 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minute. They're rolling out 10-minute videos. Which is I have been crazy. Yes. Like, I spend so much time on TikTok. I had to set a time limit for myself on TikTok. And a lot of the people I watch on TikTok are educators.
Yes.
Like, it's my new YouTube. I will literally go search in TikTok for a topic to get starting points. And then I will go to Google and research the starting points.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. It is a phenomenal place to get your products out there.
Yeah. And I feel like we should have covered that in the beginning of this video, but it's just so true. And we can talk for hours about best practices and, you know, scripting out your first 30 videos, and there's so much we can do. But in the interest of time, guys, if you want to follow up to any of those points, just let me know in the comments below to vote for Rebekka to come back. But I would love to know, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give a brand that maybe has hit the 7-figure mark and they haven't started on video yet and they now want to get on video? What is one piece of advice you'd give them?
Start. One word and simple.
Now.
I mean, literally, if that looks like getting someone in your company to start putting videos out just so you can start getting data points, do it. Literally, this is something, if you take it seriously now, in 3 years, you are going to be light years ahead of your competitors because you took it seriously from the get-go and they didn't. So that would be my one piece at start. Find somebody who knows what they're doing, hire someone who's a strategist, hire someone who has grown on TikTok and understands the platform. Yeah. Common misconception. People think that if you're a social media marketer, then you understand TikTok. There are a lot of social media marketers who are fantastic at Facebook. They're fantastic at Instagram. But Reels and TikTok strategy is a whole new ballgame. Short form video is a whole new animal. So find someone who knows it. Find a Khierstyn. Almost
or Rebekka.
Kristen.
No.
Find a Khierstyn, find a Rebekka, find someone who understands the platform.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, Rebekka and I met, and now we're going to be partnering up on a few projects because where I have a lot of experience on scripting long form videos for like product commercials, and I'm just learning the TikTok side. So with my 600 followers, I don't think I am qualified to be a TikTok expert. So what I do in this case is whenever we have an established brand that we are putting in a quote for or working with that wants to get on the TikTok train, we bring in Rebekka to actually help either with the TikTok strategy for customized scripts and a plan for 30 days, or we actually partner up on creating that video content for brands as well. So very, very pumped. Because I think this is the future, and I cannot stress enough that, guys, you got to get over yourself and you just got to rip off the Band-Aid and do it.
Yeah. And you're going to be bad at it when you start, unless you start with a pro. But you're going to be bad at it when you start, and just start bad and go from there.
Because it can't get worse, right?
Right. If you have no presence, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome. And then is there, my last two questions. Number one, is there anything that I should have asked you today that I haven't?
I mean, I really just go back to I've touched this. I'm going to touch it again because I do think it is so important. If you start, don't worry about it being perfect. The biggest difference between TikTok short form and everything you've seen before is like authentic, raw content is what makes it. Don't overproduce it. I would say I know we talked about that quite a bit, but really, like, that is the platform, like authentic people.
Yeah.
100%.
I love that. Awesome. And if anyone would like more information about working with you, either on the TikTok side or other things, where can they find you?
100%. So you can find me on TikTok or Instagram under Rebekka Rain, Rebekka_Rain, REBE. Yeah, you'll put it below. It's spelled weird. And then ReynoldsMediaMarketing.com is my website.
Love it. And guys, give Rebekka a huge thank you for coming out and sharing her wisdom and stuff. I feel super awkward today and I love it. It's great. TikTok has made me like a lot more authentic and not care really how I come off on camera. So this is so good. So good.
Yeah, we're riding the full wave of authenticity. We are both in our authentic selves.
Authentic selves. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and thank Rebekka in the comments. And apart from that, be sure to watch our next video and hit subscribe, because we release regular content like this to help you scale your e-commerce brand and get an edge over the competition. All right, guys, take care.